Hello everyone. In light of Prince's passing at the end of last week, I thought I would have a look at his birth chart and also the transits that were occurring at the time of his death. Now, Prince was born on the 7th of June 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA at 6:17 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Now, being born on the 7th of June makes him a Gemini sun. Geminis, air sign, they like to communicate, they like to relate to others, networking, very witty and curious. It's also a mutable sign. They can be very adaptable and versatile. It's in the 8th house, and there is quite a scorpionic theme to Prince's chart. Now, the 8th house is all about sex, death, taxes, so it's other people's resources, shared resources, and it could come across quite sexy and transformative. His rising sign was the sign of Scorpio. So his mask, his persona, the way he presented to the world, projected himself into the environment, was in a scorpionic fashion. So that's sexy, mysterious, secretive even, very private, passionate, and they can exude a lot of emotional depth as well. It's a fixed water sign. And we find the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler, Pluto, right at the top of his chart in the 10th house, which is a very public house. It rules our career, our vocation, our standing, our status in life. And Pluto's conjunct the Leo midheaven, and powerful entertainer. He's the king. I wonder who's got a name like Prince. And Leos like to be the centre of attention. They're about creative self-expression, doing things in a grand way, even a dramatic way. They can be very playful and fun. This Pluto also sits on the fixed star Regulus. The ancients used the fixed stars to navigate and to monitor changes of seasons rather than the wandering stars that we use today. So Regulus literally means the heart of the lion. So again, it's got that king-like quality, very majestic. It can be very magnetic, point and draw people to you. So yes, he certainly had a powerful stage presence, and the purple and having the name Prince. So he certainly was magnetic and charismatic and drew people to him. Okay, Pluto opposes his moon down here. Scorpio being a water sign, his moon is also in a water sign, in the sign of Pisces. So being a very emotionally sensitive and quite intuitive, being able to tune into the vibes, certainly in the family atmosphere, this 4th house down here. And I would say that intuition and sensitivity he would have brought into his creative work. But Pluto opposes the moon, and that is a difficult combination. And it speaks a little bit maybe about his family, particularly maybe the mother. And maybe mum was a bit of a powerhouse and could have been quite powerful, controlling. There could have been things like emotional manipulations, buried feelings or hidden feelings or secrets around things to do with the family. And he has a really strong co-ruler of his ascendant, which is Mars. Mars was the traditional, or is the traditional ruler of Scorpio before Pluto was discovered. And it's right here at 0 degrees of that Aries point in the sign it rules. So he would have a lot of drive and getting his desire nature out there and really be able to go after what he wants, really expressing that will and desire, very action oriented. And it's right on the cusp of the 5th house, which is the natural house of creative self-expression, ruled by Leo. So yeah, he's very dynamic, lots of energy to spend. He has Venus in Taurus, again in dignity, in the sign it rules. And Venus in Taurus, it rules the throat. Taurus rules the throat. It's the only planet in an earth sign, which makes it a planet in high focus. So often singers have Venus in Taurus. So we can see how that expresses itself in that way. And it's in the 6th house of day-to-day work. It's an earth house, naturally ruled by Virgo. Although his Venus does make a pretty neat square, which is a tense aspect to Uranus. So Venus in Taurus is about I have, I possess, likes to hold on to physical possessions, where Uranus is like, I need to detach, I need my space, I need my freedom, I need to separate. And so in relationships, you might have this desire to need his space for a little while and have his freedom, and then come back together. And it can also be his unusual way of expressing his creative voice to bring to people. This Saturn here in the 2nd house, you might have had issues to do with self-worth, because this is a natural Taurian house of value and worth, including money. Money is something of value and worth. And Saturn here, Saturn's a restrictive planet and a contraction energy. So there might have been issues around, not feeling good enough maybe when he was a child, and that might have propelled him to become, work hard. Saturn's about work hard to overcome that. Now, in terms of what was happening at the time of his passing, we noticed that we had the full moon in Scorpio. And often when people pass over, all the time, the houses of endings, particularly the 8th house, that natural Scorpio house, is in play in some way. And in Prince's chart, we see all the houses of endings being activated. And now they're the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th. So naturally ruled by the water signs, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So those houses of endings, especially the 8th, the Scorpio house, they're often very much activated at the time of death. Houses of endings are also called houses of soul as well. Now, we had the full moon on the 21st in America, 22nd in Australia of April, and it was in the sign of Scorpio at 2 degrees 31 minutes, and it was right on Prince's Neptune in the 12th house of endings. And Neptune rules things that aren't clear, about water. In health, it rules the immune system. There might have been immune issues. The full moon's about endings as well. Culminations, releasing, letting go. Yeah, so some sort of letting go. 12th and 6th houses are the houses of health. Some sort of combination and release around that. Scorpio, death, Neptune, can be drugs, alcohol, anything to do with the escapist urge. That's very Neptunian, very spiritual. Again, that reinforces that intuition that he had with that moon in Pisces down here. Neptune's in accidental dignity here in this 12th house, a natural Piscean house. So there could be something not clear, because Neptune tends to cloud things and even misdiagnoses. We often find that if people have Neptune natally in the 6th house, there can be misdiagnosis, or they're very sensitive to drugs, prescription drugs. and alcoholism, that escapism can be an issue. And we see Neptune co-rules his 4th house of endings. And also the sign on the cusp, Aquarius, the natural ruler the ruler of Uranus here, ruler of Aquarius, was directly opposing his Jupiter, which is the traditional ruler of Pisces. So we have that 4th house theme again. And Uranus can be something sudden and a shock and unexpected. So his passing, it was a shock to all of us. He was only 57. And Jupiter was the traditional ruler of that 12th house of endings. And here we have the Sun in the 8th house being opposed by Saturn, that contraction energy, restriction on the vital force, on his will. Over here, it's retrograde. It's in the 1st house. Again, that's a house of health as well. It rules the body. And Mars, traditional ruler of Scorpio, is in the 1st house as well. And it has not long turned retrograde on the 17th or 18th of April, depending where you live. And it was opposing, it's within orb, it's within 4 degrees of the natural ruler of his 8th house, which is Mercury. So we can see all those houses activated at the time of death. And also in the media, it's reported that he was found in an elevator, and the 12th house is about places of retreat, seclusion. It rules places like hospitals and jails and mental institutions. So death in a place of seclusion. And that full moon has, in my opinion, triggered off all the other transits. Often the inner planets can trigger off what's happening with the outer or the social planets, and certainly that Mars retrograde, co-ruler of the 1st house in the 1st house, making that opposition to the ruler of his 8th house, and the Sun being involved as well. So the vitality would not be too crash hot at the time of his passing. So that's it for now for this chart. I'll probably do the new moon in Taurus coming up next. If you want to read more about me, my website is theleftandraightbrain.com.au. I'm available for personal readings at the Mystic Hippie Gifts and Healing Shop at 375 High Street, Maitland, New South Wales, Australia. It's a great shop run by Rebecca. There's other healers and readers there as well. And I'm also available for Skype sessions. So thank you very much for listening and for watching once again, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye.